Shalom and good day all, this is Tehillim29 back again for some DC reviews, and in these DC reviews I'll be covering Batman issue 160, issue 26 of The Summer of Superman, Superman issue 26, and last but not least, Justice League Unlimited. I'll now get things ready and organised for the first one that I'll be reviewing, as it's been a while since I last covered three comics in one video. So starting off with first things first, in relation to Batman issue 160, does this cover in any way, shape or form connect us anything that is happening inside of the story? In some essence, not so much, to which I give it a 6.5 out of 10. Now it's time to move in relation to the area of the internal art around the beginning, middle, and of course the end, and of course what we'll be iterating for the art afterwards, plus also what's happening story-wise with the characters. So as the story begins, we have Bruce Wayne Batman overlooking some footage of some of the stuff that has been happening in the Batcave, and we learn that not only is Jason Todd in the Batcave, but we've also got Hush as well. So there's quite a bit happening here. As we start to move towards the middle of the story, we see that Batman is investigating some areas which Tommy Elliot, or should we say Hush, has, as a doctor, created some meta-type humans. And this one's name is called, I think, Damascus. Slowly moving towards the end, and we have, of course, destroyed Damian Wayne, care of writer, bringing in Bane, you know, the guy who killed Alfred. Yeah, I don't think you'd do that. Maybe if it was Solomon Grundy, I'd understand if Grundy would have come in, but not Bane. Until, of course, Hush takes Damian hostage. For the internal art, I give it a 7 out of 10. Now it's time to move in relation to the area of the story. Now, considering how far we are issue-wise, did we get any references to any of the previous issues that might be important to this storyline? Nah, because Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee are fucking useless as tits on a bull. Just putting it out there. And because of that, they do lose points. Next is the area of the location. Let me say one thing, we actually got quite a number of locations in this story. Of course, we had the Batcave, Gotham, Wayne Manor, the Clock Tower. We also had a Med Tower, as well as a lighthouse. Moving in the last but not least, and that is the cast of characters, considering Jason Todd, Red Hood, Hush. We also had, we had Bruce Wayne Batman, we had Gordon, Riddler, Nightwing, Batgirl, Damascus, Damian Wayne Robin, of course Bane, one other character that I wrote down terribly, Joker. That's what I was thinking of, the Joker. The overall story rating is a 6.5 out of 10. Now it's time to move into Superman issue 26. So, as we move into Superman issue 26, does this cover in any way, shape or form connect to something that is happening inside with the story? Not so much, to which I give it a 6.5 out of 10. Now it's time to move in relation to the area of the internal art, as we have a look around the beginning, middle, and of course the end, and also what's happening story-wise with the characters. So as the story begins, we catch up with Lex Luthor once again, and something has, of course, happened to Superman. We do also get a bit of a refresher and a flashback of events of characters like from earlier in the series, from Dr. Farmer and the other person, Farmer and Graft. We get to see Lobo, Lex Luthor, and a number of other characters along the way. As we start to move towards the middle of the story, we also seem to get some interludes as to some of the upcoming events that will be probably taking place probably a little bit after this issue. So we get to see what's happening with Zod and the place where he was on, and it looks like he's making his way to Earth, and that may in some way affect the story, but we're also going to be getting some other interludes. We, of course, return to Supercourt, which we get to see Lex Luthor and Mercy, Lois Lane, and Lena Luthor hash things out. Of course, another small interlude, to which we get to see the end of time and the return of Doomsday. And last but not least, the return of Dr. Farm and Graft. And Lex Luthor almost looks like he's helping him out. For the internal art, I gave it a 7 out of 10. Now it's time to move in relation to the area of the story. Considering how far we are, did we get any comic book references? No. Next is the area of time, which we had earlier that day, and also the end of time, like just for the interludes. Next is the locations, to which we had Strucker's Island, the Justice League Unlimited Watchtower, and last but not least, Supercorp. Cast of characters consisting of Clark Kent Superman, Farmer, and Graft, along, of course, with Lobo, Lex Luthor, Lois Lane, Zod. We also have Lena Luthor, Doomsday, Marilyn Moonlight. For the overall story rating, I give it a 6.5 out of 10. Now it's time to move into Justice League Unlimited. So as we start to move towards Justice League Unlimited issue 7, does this cover in any way, shape or form connect to something that is happening inside with the story? Sure enough it does, to which I give it a 7 out of 10, and it's very well deserving, only because of the characters that it shows on the cover here. We do actually get to see in the story. Next is the area of the internal art, as we have a look around the beginning, middle, and of course the end, and also what's happening story-wise with the characters. Of course, we get a bit of an update of sorts as to what's been happening since previous issues, and we see a lot of things happening with the characters, to which many of them are practically cast to different parts in time. We get to see where many members of the Justice League Unlimited end up, and also where they are time-wise, from BCE to CE, and also the end of time. We, of course, finally return to the Watchtower, and it seems that the only person who might have a very big chance of bringing everyone back together is the person who is sort of like the undercover villain of the story, and he decides to become a hero, and that is the character of Airwave. And last but not least, towards the end, for the internal art, I give it a 7.5 out of 10. Now it's time to move in relation to the area of the story. Now, did we get any comic book references to any of the previous issues or anything of importance? Sure enough, we did, to World's Finest issue 39, to which I believe that's around the time that all of these events started occurring. So, very good job there. Next is the area of time, to which we had BCE being covered, CE being covered, and also the end of time being covered. So we had dates and times showing up in that time period. I'm surprised that we didn't get the beginning of time actually within the story, but who knows, that might be something planned for later. Next is the locations, to which we had the Watchtower, we had the Indian Ocean, we also had Arabia, we had Tombstone, Jupiter, Europe, and England also covered in the story. The cast of characters consisting of the characters that make up the Legion of Doom, so basically the Legion of Doom from the past. We had the Justice League Unlimited, so the members that are present in the future. We also had the character of Airwave, who is now starting to play an important role in bringing the Justice League Unlimited back together. For the overall story rating, I give it a 7.5 out of 10. Until then, let's keep it colourful and have yourself an awesome day.